Elaine, congratulations to you. You know, I know the 42nd Ward has always been a good ward, but I know that under your leadership, it's just going to continue to grow and develop and be a stable part of the great Democratic Party that we have in our city. We have a great Democratic Party.
I'm glad to have Elaine on my team. I'm looking forward to a very big Democratic victory on November the 4th. I'm looking forward to my swearing in on January 5th, and I want everyone from the 42nd Ward to be there.
I want to first thank you for May 20th. You stood up strong for me and delivered me very well across the city, and 42nd Ward was one of the top wards in terms of producing votes for me. That's because you have a great ward leader. She's a new ward leader, but she's a great ward leader. I know she was going to be a great ward leader, so I've worked with her actually starting maybe up to 10 years ago when she was organizing a business association. Because what we do politically is try to develop communities.
So thanks for coming out, folks. Let's give it up for Elaine Tomlin, and make a huge difference in a second. And all those folks down the end of Only, I know we told you it was a great Only umbrella giveaway, but that was just to get you to show up. You actually got to buy the umbrella.
Hello, my name is Elaine Tomlin. I am a ward leader and state committee person in Philadelphia County. I have always wanted to have an opportunity to communicate with people from all walks of life about the issues that are of common interest to us all. Unfortunately, there are not enough hours in a day for me to knock on the thousands of doors in this fast-paced and ever-changing city that we live in. Instead, I have chosen to communicate directly with you in this DVD format that is accessible and convenient for us all. This is the first Grassroots For Your Information DVD on voter education. The purpose of this DVD is to inform and prepare you as a voter for possible changes in identification requirements that could impact your ability to vote in elections. This DVD is for registered voters. Even though you are a registered voter, you must have proper voter identification when you arrive at the polls to vote. Just recently, in June 2005, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives passed House Bill 1318. This bill includes several amendments that would add stringent new requirements to Pennsylvania's election code. These new requirements include 1. Requiring voters to show a photo ID every time they go to the polls. 2. Requiring voters to sign the registration book at the polling place in blue or black ink. 3. Making it a misdemeanor for a person to give an absentee ballot application to a person who is not eligible to cast an absentee ballot. 4. Another measure would prohibit felons from voting until the end of their maximum possible sentence, even if they have served a portion of the sentence, been released on parole, and lived as model citizens since their release. At present, felons can vote, so long as they are not currently incarcerated for a conviction of a felony. Some of the state representatives from Philadelphia feel that this bill will leave many voters disenfranchised. In other words, many people would lose their right to vote. If this bill passes the Pennsylvania State Senate, possibly as early as September 2005, many of our senior citizens and minority residents could be turned away from the polls in the November election. This bill, although advertised as a way to deter voter fraud, actually aims at influencing Pennsylvania's statewide elections and national elections by keeping Philadelphia and Pittsburgh residents away from the polls. If this happens, the issues faced by our two major Pennsylvania cities will always lose out to the rural interests of the rest of the Commonwealth. It has also been stated by some state representatives from Philadelphia that these repressive measures were hidden inside a seemingly harmless bill to increase the salaries of election poll workers. Obviously, with our state legislature actively seeking to limit our voter participation, Philadelphia voters need to be prepared to vote by having proper identification when it comes to time to vote. Here's how to prepare. First, if you have a current up-to-date voter identification card, you do not need to have a photo identification. However, With the increased attention to Homeland Security issues, I strongly recommend that you obtain a valid photo identity card. In Pennsylvania, a non-driver's license is your valid photo ID. To get a non-driver's license, you will need two things: identification and proof of residency. For identification, you will need a Social Security card that is not laminated. Now, let's talk about how to get a Social Security card. When you want to get your Social Security card, you need to have documents that give proof of age, identity, and United States citizenship. For proof of age, you will need a birth certificate, which is preferred, or a hospital birth record that was made at the time of your birth, or a religious record showing your age that was made before you were 3 months old, or a passport, or an adoption record. This adoption record needs to have the birth information from the original birth certificate. Now, for proof of identity, you need a driver's license or an employee ID card, or a passport, or a marriage or divorce record, or an adoption record if you are not using it for proof of age, or a military record, or a life insurance policy, or a school ID card. For proof of citizenship, you need documents that show you were born in the United States, or a United States consular report of birth if you were born outside of the United States, but you are a United States citizen, or a certificate of citizenship, or a certificate of naturalization, or a document that is not expired that was issued by the Department of Homeland Security showing your immigration status. A receipt that shows you applied is not acceptable. First, you need to have the basic information to complete an application: your place of birth, an address where to send your new Social Security card in 10 to 14 days. Now, with an application for a Social Security card, you can apply for your first Social Security card, a duplicate Social Security card, a corrected Social Security card. You normally get a corrected card if your name is spelled wrong on your card, need to change your name because of getting married, need to change your name because of adoption, or want to change your name back because of divorce. A change of information on your record that is not changing your name. If you are applying for someone's first Social Security card and they are under 18, you need to fill in their mother's maiden name and their father's name. If you do not have the Social Security numbers of one of both parents, they will still be able to get a Social Security number and card. If you are getting a corrected Social Security card, you will need to have the name that appeared previously on your Social Security card and the new name that you want to appear on your new Social Security card. If you want a Social Security card, you can apply through the mail or by bringing a filled-out application to one of the 9 Social Security offices in Philadelphia. If you want more information or want to download an application, you can find it at http://www.ssa.gov/ that's http://www.ssa.gov/. Once you have your Social Security card, you will also need one of the following: a birth certificate with a raised seal, a certificate of naturalization, a valid United States passport, a United States military photo ID card, or an out-of-state driver's license. Now let's talk about how you can get a copy of a birth certificate. Where do you go? You can apply at the Philadelphia State Office Building, which is located at 1400 West Spring Garden Street in room 1009 on the 10th floor. But you can also apply online or get additional information at www.health.state.pa.us/vital records. That's www.health.state.pa.us/vital records. For all birth certificates, you need background information about the person whose certificate you are requesting and a copy of your own identification. I'll tell you the types of identification that you will need in a moment. But first, let's find out what background information you will need about the individual whose birth certificate you are requesting. There are 6 basic pieces of information that's needed. 1, the birth name of the person whose certificate you want. 2, that person's date of birth. 3, the place of birth or the country and city of birth. 4, the hospital where the person was born. 5, the full maiden name of the person's mother. And finally, 6, the full name of the person's father. Now let's talk about the requirements of the person requesting the birth certificate copy. The first requirement is that you must be 18 years old or older to apply for a copy of a birth certificate. The second requirement is that you must have your own identification to obtain a birth certificate copy. These are the forms of identification you can use. A government-issued photo ID. This could be one of 3 things: a valid driver's license with your current address, or a non-driver's photo ID with your current address, or a passport. If you don't have any of these types of picture ID, you can also show 2 forms of mail with your name and current address to obtain a copy of a birth certificate. Examples of mail could be your utility bill or a letter from an organization with your current address. Now, you're ready to complete your application for a certified copy of a birth certificate. But before you apply for the birth certificate copy, you need to know, how much will it cost? It costs $10 for each copy of a birth certificate. Cash is not accepted. You must have a money order or check for $10. The money order or check should be made payable to Vital Records. That's VITAL-RECORDS. But there is no fee for birth records of active or inactive members of the armed forces and their dependents. If this is your situation, you will need the armed forces member's name, their service number, as well as their rank and branch of service. Now you're ready to go to the Philadelphia State